Hey guys, how's it going? Let's talk about the Wheel of Time. For those that are unaware, the Wheel of Time is Amazon Prime's adaptation to television of the Robert Jordan novel series of the same name. There were multiple books released in that series, and this is the adapted version to television of this very popular franchise and series that's been going on from, I think, 1990 to the present day. This is my preview of episode 4. It is also a video which I'm going to use the opportunity to talk about episodes 1 to 3. As always, this or that part of it will not be a review. It will just be me giving you some thoughts and opinions. Most people who are obviously trying to freeload this episode because of potentially the headline, they would have already clicked off the video. But for those people that are in a little bit more awe and wondering what's going on here, I do not have to post any of the footage for this episode. I understand that you may be frustrated because the headline says that this is episode 4. As a YouTuber and a person who didn't exactly start a YouTube channel because I wanted to be popular on YouTube, I started a channel because I wanted to get monetized to see how this thing actually works out. And I have managed to get monetized despite the fact that people told me I would never become what I've become on YouTube at this point. I pride myself on preventing people from stealing things and preventing piracy. If you're not clever enough to work out how to watch these things and you don't have a subscription to watch these things, then you really don't have any moral high ground. And the sheer thought that I am upset because you say things to me is ridiculous. Some of the things that were being said to me last night after I posted a certain video about some people, it was embarrassing. It's people with absolutely no mind. I will once again, and I hope you will stay with me when I say this, will try to explain that I have seen videos online, and I seen one of these videos a few days ago. There's a video with 195,000 views, and the person had less than 200 subscribers. How can you possibly have a video that's got nearly 200,000 views on its own, but somehow you have less than, I mean, what is that? What is that? 1%? It might not even be 1% of that figure, but it's ridiculous. It's either 1 or less than 1% of that figure. It's embarrassing. But yeah, as we get to this, I have to explain that, guys. Right. This video has been brought to you by the Anti-Freeloading Society community just organization. And if you do not understand that, I will explain now that the Anti-Freeloading Society is a self-made fictional society of people, including myself, mainly just myself. There may be other people online that actually do this, but I actually glorifiedly announce that I do this. Whether you consider what I do as something beginning with C and ending with T, it doesn't really bother me. I don't care. The fact is it's the same people that call it that's tried to tell me about likes and dislikes. It's not about likes and dislikes. It's about getting clicks and getting people to interact with your video. So the more people who comment on my video, the more people that will get to see my video. And at this point, it's like, am I doing this for the views? Yeah, you bet your sweet backside that I am. But yeah, we're 5 minutes in almost, and I think it's a good time now at this, getting up to this 5 minute time stamp, should I say, that we start talking about episode 4. At this point, I am gonna then suggest that if you haven't seen episode 1 to 3, go and see them now. Episode 4 is something that I think that you guys are going to enjoy. The way that we are building at the moment is, of course, we are now getting to see more of what is happening. Now, for those people that are unaware of the books, etc., because I am trying to learn the lore, just like I did with Game of Thrones, yes, it only took less than 1 minute of the actual preview of the next episode for me to actually mention that this is going to get a lot of comparisons to Game of Thrones, not just my thoughts here. I think a lot of people online are comparing this to Game of Thrones. Now, I myself have just watched a series. Let's just say it is if your parents are unmarried and you are born, you are referred to as something beginning with a B. I'm just going to say the word B. The Bee Executioner. It was a 2015 FX series that was made by the creators and producers, or one of the producers, of Sons of Anarchy. This thing was critically hated. I remember at the time seeing it, thinking, oh, this looks good, and then being told by people, don't go anywhere near that. And trust, this was around the time when I had really stepped away from a lot of series and I was not trusting television. I didn't even watch the final season of Sons of Anarchy. I had lost a lot of trust with television series. The DC, or Marvel and DC series had started to get on my nerves. And yeah, I did step away. There was nothing that I could watch then, and I was changing my palette at the time. I was going with a lot of comedy stuff and not this more realistic, well, not even realistic, but just more gore and, fantasy, gore, murder, medieval stuff. But of course, time moves on, and it was around about 2018 that I fell in love, hook, line, and sinker with Game of Thrones. That time there, it was 7, 8 years old, but it just absolutely gripped me. I can't even remember what the catalyst of me watching Game of Thrones was. I think there was somebody who had tried to sell me on it a few times, and I'd watched the episode 1, and it didn't really catch my eye. But one day I was just, and I'm gonna admit it, like most people, one day I was just madly bored. I think I'd watched Spartacus previously to that, and I really enjoyed what I'd seen with Spartacus, and it just gave me that sort of bloodlust of looking around for new series. And I just thought, you know what, let me just sit back, chill out, and watch 2 to 3 episodes of Game of Thrones just to see if I can get the synopsis. And of course, as most of you know, and most of you probably experienced if you're a Game of Thrones fan, I just fell in love with it immediately. Every minute that I had spare over the next 2 weeks was spent watching it, and within less than 3 weeks I had watched the whole series. I mean, I must have watched 5.5, 6 series at that point there, and then got to the stage where it was like, right, when does the next episode air? And then I found out the episodes when they aired, and then obviously it was like, right, I'm not even first couple of times it was like, yeah, I'll wait. And then I think it was at the back end of either season 5 or season 6, whichever season that I had caught up to, I realized, you know what, I'm just going to watch it live. I can't wait 24 hours or 8, 9, 10 hours to, be sent a link to this by somebody. And I'm not going to lie, back then was the days of where I was like what the people who are going to click on this video are like. I didn't really see the structure of, anything apart from, oh, well, if I go on YouTube, I might be able to watch it. And then you go elsewhere and you might be able to find it. And I've never criticized people for going elsewhere and finding stuff, especially if it's hidden behind paywalls, etc. But YouTube is just not supposed to be for that. The punishments that you can get for doing that stuff on YouTube, I mean, I don't know how some of these people even run their channels. They must get copyright issues every 1 to 3 videos, I assume. It's especially 1 in every 5 videos. I can't imagine. Shout out to the holiday Christopher Mace, like he did 2 years. Me and him did 2 years simultaneously of YouTube, and you know he had 3 times the amount of subscribers that I've got. But for some reason, he's been stung, and YouTube won't give him his channel back through copyright. I think it's a bit petty, but as much as I respect him, you know, my thoughts would be, don't ever fall for that. Don't ever fall for the people that try to convince you that it's okay to post copyright here and there as long as the videos are not. No, you can post literally 10 seconds of something that's copyright, and you're risking your whole channel. And I'm just not willing to do that. I have enough issue with videos like this, the Dark Side of the Ring video that I did, which they tried to say was copyright, and it clearly wasn't copyright because I posted it before the actual episode even aired, which makes them look completely asinine for even trying or attempting to allow the block of that video for the first week or so, until I was officially able to appeal against it. And then that's where they checked it and realized, oh, this person can't be guilty of this because he is because the video wasn't even, like, the actual episode of Dark Side of the Ring hadn't even aired at the time when I posted that video. That's how easy they could have figured that out. But of course they punished me for that, but I'm not even going to get into that. Right, we've gone way off track right now. Not that it matters, because I can pretty much talk about anything in the middle bit, but we are talking about the Wheel of Time, and we are talking about the Wheel of Time episode 4 that's upcoming, and I am looking forward to seeing episode 4. I'm looking for some big plot development. Once again, for those people who haven't read the books, you won't know some of the things that are going to take place in this series, and some of the things that are going to take place in this series is, even though they are teasing in the series, that anyone of the 4 people, and well, there's 5 because they've hinted now there is 5 of them, not just 4. Any one of the 5 could be the dragon, but you know, we're already seeing signs, and they're already teasing. And spoiler alert, I can officially tell you, if you didn't want to hear this, then skip forward, that Rand is going to be the dragon. It's so obvious that Rand is supposed to be the dragon. Just his dad having the link to the sword, the way that he's swordsman, there's got to be something that his dad's aware of that he wasn't aware of, or some lineage that they've been aware of. And, you know, the other ones all have powers. Spoiler alert again, the wolf thing is obvious, that the person's going to have some kind of a bond or some kind of situation with wolves, where it makes sense that they would have had characters with different abilities and different things going off, and different situations that take place within the, you know, universe of this program. But to spend 3 episodes teasing some of these things, I don't know if the fans of the Wheel of Time, especially the hardcore fans that read the books, I mean, I'm only just listening to the audio books now, but the ones that read the books 2 decades ago, and the ones that have grown up with this lore, that compared Game of Thrones and every other TV program to that was like it to this series, I will say for a fact that I can kind of see their frustration. Why did they need a program that started, like, a lot of people would have said, well, we couldn't really just start. No, you could have. You could have done a Green Arrow thing where you started with the Green Arrow being the Green Arrow, and then we get flashbacks to what happened, because we're gonna, you know, these series feature flashbacks, etc. And another thing that I was saying earlier on about the Bee Executioner is a lot of people were comparing the Wheel of Time to Game of Thrones, but I thought that the Bee Executioner was way more a Game of Thrones sort of structured program, where it featured even the theme song and everything that's sung by Ed Sheeran, by the way. Even that was very Game of Thrones, like the intro, all that kind of stuff. Like, they clearly wanted to do some kind of Game of Thrones thing there. Now, like I say, this program's always going to get comparisons to Game of Thrones, but where I think that this differs is, I think that this has more depth. We're not just dealing with sheer luck and ability. There are magic powers in this series that people can unlock. Like in Game of Thrones, obviously, like you say, there's the Melisandre sort of thing like that. But even now, looking back on that, one of the things that I think that this series is going to be more impressive for is how what is it going to be like when you have got the more of a balance, as in a few powered people going up against these weird, Trollocs, these modified, like Minotaur type creatures, half man, half sort of like bull or ox or whatever. Like, it would even the odds out rather than like saying, like, once again, to compare, I said there were going to be comparisons to Game of Thrones, the army of the dead, these zombie creatures that can't be killed or nothing like that, can't be stopped without fire. But, the dragons have got fire, but Game of Thrones would have been a lot more handy if maybe a few people from the like the Melisandre's Lord of the Light or whatever could actually breathe and project fire, maybe some people to even out the odds. Maybe it would have brightened up the episode where they actually had the war with the army of the dead. The dragons didn't seem to do much, but whatever. But yeah, to this series, it does look like it's going to be something, I think, that is either going to be just incredible, or it's going to be another beat executioner where fans are just not going to get it. It's going to be drawn out too long, too much of a plot line, too much of a drag out. Things that we can clearly see are taking place in episode 1 don't then get the payoff until like episode 9 or 10 and 11. That's not how you do this. I don't mind giving little hints like in episode 6, and then you don't get the payoff until episode maybe 12 or 13 because you're already invested in stuff by then. But there were things that they were teasing and they were talking about in the first episode that, even in my mind, I thought they would have been better if they would have filmed the first 3 episodes like a film. So it was just going up against, basically a one crazy battle with these Trollocs and etc., and then they defeat, and then they move on to the whatever the next big bad is, you know what I mean? And we get a glimpse of how these people work or whatever. But they decided to go with the complete and utter reboot and origin story of this Wheel of Time. And to the fans that have read the books, keep going to say watch the books, that have listened to the audio books and read the books, they are not happy with that. They are not happy with that. They don't think that that's good enough. And the character development in this as well is a little bit strange. There are characters that in the books look nothing like what they look like in the program, or they're not described the same. Rand is supposed to be this person who is, 6 foot odd, big, stocky guy. He looks nothing like that in the program. He looks like a skinny little boy in the program. But with the, I assume, I've not had this confirmed, I think there's only 10 episodes of this series, but with the limited amount of episodes, I think that we have to consider that they're now going to have to get in gear. If they start doing a Game of Thrones thing with this, having released 3 episodes last week, and then we get some dragged out episode 4, 5, 6, and 7, just so it can lead into episode 8 and 9 and 10 for the finale, or I think it's 10 episodes, I don't think I'll be happy. I probably will step away at like episode 5 or 6 and then come back at episode 9 and then, watch a few episodes in a row. Because of that, because I've they say, don't they, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And I've had my fingers burnt before, or my eyes burnt before, by getting into series, and then, the episodes just drag out. You need to watch everything all in one. So, you need to watch 3 episodes in one to keep up with everything that's going on. So you may as well just wait rather than watching the episode as soon as possible. But this Wheel of Time series so far is very hot, and it is something that I am desperate to see as soon as the episode airs, or, within the next couple of hours after the episode airs. We are now getting to the stage where we are almost halfway through this video, so I am going to switch over to and I have been sort of mixing it up, but I am going to switch over to the episode 1 to 3 thoughts and opinions, because of course we now can talk about some of the things that happened in the previous episode. I hope at this point now, for anyone who's still listening, that we have got you excited enough for the next episode of The Wheel of Time. But the first 3 episodes, like I say, and I have already spoke about this, they start off, it's a very origin-based situation. We get some weird things happening at the start of the episode. And one thing that is certain is these people that live in the mountains, this village of people that are just settled in a quiet part of the world, whatever this Wheel of Time world is set in, on their version of Earth. These people obviously have absolutely, or the majority of these people obviously have no idea who these Trollocs are. Now, immediately that rings alarm bells to me, because that says to me, how do they not know who these Trollocs are? How possibly can these Trollocs, do you know what I mean? How can they be out there in civilization, in the world, but yet nobody seems to know who these people are, or who these creatures are? Or there's a very limited amount of knowledge. Now, obviously, it could be a generational thing where it's been forgotten, but it makes no sense to me. Like, how do we in our generation, in our world, know about, ancient Egypt and ancient time, Sumerian stuff, because of written text and all that? Yeah, that makes it a good excuse. What if these people don't have written text, etc.? But plagues are not just illness. Plagues can be seen as, a different type of species, or different type of, situation that's taken over. Like they say, the plague of the Spanish that went to the Americas in the, middle centuries, like in the 1500. They were just as much deadly because of the illnesses that they carried with them, that the people of South America weren't immune to, as they were with the sword or with the musket or whatever they were using. And I don't even think they had muskets then, but if they did, with the sword or with whatever they were using to kill people. So, you have to look at it in that situation. How possibly did these people not know that there was this mythological army of a half humanoid, half animal, going around with weapons, highly trained, highly skilled, very powerful, killing other people and innocent people? How were these people not aware of these things? Or maybe they were just ignorant to it. It wasn't fully explained in the program of how these people were supposed to, like, understand, if they even knew about the Trollocs. Like, the one thing that drew my attention straight away was, as soon as the Trollocs attack in episode 1, because they do it straight away, or not straight away, but it's not long before the actual attack happens. And I can tell you straight away, one of the most confusing things is when I started hearing people screaming, what are these things? Who are these things? And they've got no idea. But we do get some revelations, or we do get some information that is quite important. It's very Army of the Dead from Game of Thrones. Once again, I'm comparing it to Game of Thrones. It's very Army of the Dead, where the Trollocs don't cross across the water. They find other ways to go around. And of course, for anyone who knows anything about television and storylines and even novel writing, that is a very, very good way of being able to prolong the story. Oh, well, they don't cross the water. They have to travel 75 miles out of their way and across a bridge. But I guarantee you that even though we have traveled, as they're traveling in the opposite direction to get to the said bridge, to then travel back in the same direction that we're in, we just travel in further in the opposite direction that they're traveling at first, and we'll be so far away from them, hopefully, that they won't be able to catch us up. And that's even with, and I have to address this, the mythological link between the Dark One, who is leading, or one of these disciples of the Dark, let's just call them the Dark Order, one of these disciples of the Dark Order that is then leading the group of Trollocs. because somehow on top of everything, these creatures, the Trollocs and this disciple of the Dark One, this white-faced hooded character, the, let's just call him the Grim Reaper character, he they have a mythological link to the characters and the thing. They know where they are at all times and all this. It's like, what? Like, I know that that's something that I actually know would have been from the books, where they would have been trying to make the book seem more, fantasy driven, with the Dungeons and Dragons sort of style of programming, medieval sort of look, whatever it's got. That's where that would have come from. Oh, well, they know where they are. They've got like a psychological and mythological link to the dragon, because this is the thing that I should have mentioned before. This is like a quest program where, once again, spoiler alert, Rand, who is in the books the dragon reborn. Now, from the things that I've learned from what they're telling us, the original dragon, or one of the dragons, somebody with a lot of vengeance or whatever it was, his power was that he managed to in turn destroy mankind because of what mankind was allowing itself to happen, which is very similar to what's happening in this day and age of the book, when the books were being written or when the books are set in. And the dragon basically saved mankind by basically killing mankind. It's some crazy link to their lore and their universe, etc. Like I say, it's one of them things that you'd have to watch the program for. I don't know that much about the Wheel of Time series book, and I only know what I know of the television program from what I've seen of the 3 episodes that I've seen so far. So anyway, yeah, to talk about the characters a little bit more, you've got Rand, who lives with his dad. I'm not going to give everyone's name. His dad is played by the same guy who played Roose Bolton. It's quite weird to see him in this playing like just a calm, normal, like, tradesman or whatever. Whereas, obviously, in Game of Thrones, he was quite a hard-faced prick who, obviously, his son was just an evil person who nobody really wanted anything to do with. What concerns me more than anything about a series like this, and this is actually a truthful statement from myself, what concerns me more about from a series standpoint with this kind of series is how quickly and expendable some of the characters can be in a series like this. Like, we get introduced to a female in one of the, I think it's in the second or at the end of the second episode, the start of the third episode, or maybe it's the start of the third episode, and she is undercover working for the dark side, the people who are well, we don't actually know. This is another thing that before I even get into the girl, we yet don't know who the big bad is. Yeah, there's the dark people that, like, and I don't mean dark as in colored skin. I mean the people that are like possessed by the dark side, basically. And then you've got these men of the light, like basically the lords of the light. This is where Game of Thrones obviously takes complete utter control. You've got these guys dressed in white cloaks. Now, you'd think that the guys dressed in white cloaks would immediately be the enemy of the guys from the dark side, but this doesn't seem like these two things are happening at the same time. Like, it's almost like the people in the white cloaks are Cersei and them in the King's Landing before they start to realize that the army of the dead is actually real. They kind of, this order is like, we are the rulers of the land, but we do not take any responsibility for anything that can actually defeat us or anything that is more powerful than us. We are completely dismissive of anything like that. We just basically target what we target. Now, it's almost identical in this. Like, the guys that are dressed in white robes are killing the women who are stating that they are protecting the dragons, but then we don't know because we've seen evidence in the first episode where one of the women who looked way more possessed than the female that we have been introduced to, she murders or she captures a person claiming to be the dragon, basically saying that the gift, which is called the One Power, is not for men. And there are signs that it isn't for men because it drives men crazy. But this is where the whole series obviously is taking effect because, like they say, Rand is the dragon. Now, Rand is probably something more different from what these women are. And these women do have power, like the woman that we've seen in the series, that I'm completely blanking on her name so far, but it begins with M. We get introduced to her, and she is quite powerful in the program. But like I said, she's got another woman who's like her with powers and she's got a ring that gives her the power, or the ring is something, a symbol of the power or whatever. And she's way more possessed. She's way more evil. Does some evil stuff. So there's no real evidence yet that any of these three are the good, the bad, and the in between. Like, they could all be bad and they could all be good in their own ways, So at this point, we are just following the story of these four people that have had to escape from their lives and their villages because they are being traced and tracked by these Trollocs that are under the command of this next creature, who he is under the command of some other civilization or organization or somebody who's similar to himself, and their goal is to wipe out the dragon and wipe out basically mankind if necessary. And then, like I said, you've got these group of like women that have got certain powers to protect against the Trollocs and against other things like that, and they are using that power to keep it basically within themselves and in their group of people. And then the third type of person is the 20 years later reborn version of these heroes that protected mankind, etc. Like I say, I'm not too sure where the other characters get their abilities from, and etc. etc. In one of the episodes, they seek shelter in this city, where apparently the story behind the city is that the people who lived in the city built a giant wall, fenced themselves in, locked themselves in the city, and when people finally came to the city a long time after, they realized that everyone in the city had disappeared and they were dead. And what happens is this city basically has got some kind of curse. It's at night time, it gets covered in some kind of just thing that turns anything that it touches into stone, or into dust, should I say, and burns it alive or whatever. So that's obviously what happened to the people that live there. The whole city is obviously cursed or whatever with some kind of supernatural power or whatever. It's quite a weird thing to see, to be honest, but I'm not going to deny, like, I just watched it for what it was. I know that these programs feature as much fantasy as they do anything realistic. I know that there's still 8 minutes of the preview and review of episodes 1 to 3 to go, but I just want to sit here and just once again reiterate that I don't have to post any of the footage for these episodes or for these series. I know it's frustrating to the people that watch these things, and if you're clicking through and you're trying to skip through because you're trying to find if there is any footage in this video and you stumble upon this part, just know that I am not doing this to be malicious to you people. I am doing this because this is one of the most obvious ways of attempting to actually gain revenue and views on YouTube, whether you like it or not. Even some of the biggest YouTubers out there have openly admitted it in the past that they have used tactics like this to be able to do what they want to do. And I will continue to do this. The only reason that I didn't do this with the Wheel of Time last week is because I didn't have no way of having 120 minutes of time to be able to do that. Like, it's that, you know, it's an hour, basically talking an hour and an hour and, well, 2 hours, in fact, 2 hours of me talking, and, you know, or just over, so it would be 2 hours and like 6 minutes, 2 hours and 7 minutes of me talking. I just didn't have enough to say about the series to blend that into 3 videos. But here we are now. For everyone that's excited, they'll probably end up clicking on this video and thinking that they're going to get to watch a full episode of The Wheel of Time season 1, episode 4. But they're not going to get to see The Wheel of Time season 1, episode 4, because they don't deserve to watch that here and now. And anyone who does take the risk, and if, like, once again, if you are clicking through this video, if you do actually get to watch these types of episodes and you do get to see them on YouTube because some unsuspecting person is willing to take a risk of signing up to a brand new profile on Google just to be able to post this video, at least subscribe to their channel, show them some loyalty. But then at the same time, their channel is probably not going to last that long after anyway, because as soon as they post the video, it's going to get blocked within a certain amount of time anyway, because I can't imagine Amazon Prime being too comfortable with their television programs in so early within the first 24 hours being posted and uploaded onto YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong, I have absolutely no evidence to back up that claim that I have just made then. For all I know, Amazon Prime could be completely fine with people uploading their full episodes of their programming to YouTube within hours of their pay-to-watch programming that you have to have a subscription to watch being aired on a free platform that you don't have to have a subscription to use. I'm sure if Amazon Prime wanted, and if they are interested in people watching on YouTube, they would just upload it to YouTube Premium. Now, that brings me to another comment about the people that actually moan about my videos. YouTube Premium is another perfect way of being able to avoid people like me. Now, the Wheel of Time, if that is on YouTube, or even if it isn't on YouTube, if you really, really are frustrated with these types of videos, then please, and shout out to YouTube. YouTube will probably thank me for trying to promote this, but yeah, please at least attempt to use the free trial of YouTube Premium if you've not already used it, of course, because it's worth the free trial. Not that I've ever used the free trial, because I use YouTube for exactly what YouTube is supposed to be used for. And I don't complain when I don't get what I want on YouTube. I don't threaten people's families and tell them to catch this and do that. It's embarrassing. I've said it multiple times before. It's very, very embarrassing when you get grown men acting like they're the toughest men in the world because they don't get to watch something. Now, I can't imagine what you types of humans are like when you don't get what you want off a girl or whatever. Like, the whole world is obviously speaking about certain things. It's people like that that make me sick. And the majority of wrestling fans that you will get, and movie fans and whatever that you will get on YouTube that are being aggressive, are male. They are males that think that they can say anything and it has no consequences. But I am proof that I don't need to do anything. Like, when people try to tell me all about the headline, it's almost like you think that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what? Do you think that I've just sat here for 40 minutes talking to my phone to post this on YouTube, to think that people who are clearly wanting to watch the episode, why wouldn't I just put the words review? I only talk for this long because it gets all this off my chest. It's the perfect night for me to do this because there's no wrestling that I want to cover tonight. So I get to do 40 minutes of me just chilling out here, getting a lot of the thoughts off my brain, winding down from last night's chaos where my channel was bombarded with multiple threatening comments and disgusting things said by human beings, well, people who claim to be human beings anyway. So I'm happy to do this. I've not really posted anything today, so I'm going to give my time now to be able to update people on what's taking place. And for those people who only watch the video for the first 30 seconds and don't give a crap about what I've got to say, and at least just don't say anything. I don't really care what you've got to say. Like, being angry and aggressive about not being able to watch something, especially when it comes down to wrestling, guys. It's astonishing to me when I get people threatening me over not being able to watch two half-naked men wrestle in the ring, but yet these guys want to use macho behavior to be able to do that. It's like, when you think about it like that, it's laughable. Anyway, we don't have long left in this, and I am going to talk until the end. I am enjoying what I've seen so far of the Wheel of Time. I know that there's a lot of negativity online that's surrounding it. I know there's a lot of people that are saying that it's going, basically they think it's not going to be good. It's not no good at the moment. Maybe it's not anything like what it's like in the books, but I was highly entertained by what I've seen. And just from when I watched the trailer, I knew, right, this is going to be something that I'm going to want to watch. I sat up and took notice straight away of the trailer. And, I'm just going to try and say this, guys, like, just don't ruin it for yourselves. Just try and watch it for what it is, rather than sitting there saying, oh, that wasn't like it was in the book. That wasn't like it was in the book. That wasn't like... I bet you $1,000 right now that 99% of the people that actually moan and say things about the book's comparison and all that nonsense there, I almost am certain at this point that those people there are the same people that will turn a blind eye with certain other things, exactly the same in other franchises, because of their blind loyalty to it. Some of the people that have read the books, they are going to have that, what I call the know-it-all vibe to them, which is they're going to be like, oh, well, I know more than you. And because they've been able to lord it over their friends for the last 20 years or 15 years about how much they know and how much they think the Wheel of Time book series is better than Game of Thrones, etc., 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 them people are going to be hell-bent on being right. They're exactly the same as the people who talk negative about Call of Duty and stuff. These people have got caught in their own ways. If not, they're being paid to say what they're being paid to say. It's just the whole thing. Right? I'm surprised out there's so many people talking negatively about this, and it's all, oh, what the books. No one cares about the books once the program starts. Only the people that already read the book. So from somebody who hasn't read the books, who's listening to the audiobooks, I'll probably give up on the audiobooks once the program starts getting heated up. But you never know. Maybe in 6 weeks' time, I'll be sitting here saying, you know what? This is nothing like what it is in the books. The books are way better. But, I didn't think that about Game of Thrones, and I could still sit here now and throw things out from Game of Thrones that should have been in the series, and it wasn't in the series. And luckily I checked, because I've just checked for the runtime, and the runtime of these episodes is 54 minutes and not 44 minutes like I originally thought. So you may have to deal with me talking for about another 5 or 6 minutes. But at the same time, I probably should just end it here and let the last 10 minutes be a run of silence. I mean, I could do that if I wanted to, or I could just go back into talking about the fact that this is updates, information on the Wheel of Time Season 1, Episode 4, an episode that should not in any circumstances be being uploaded to YouTube. But I am simply taking this risk of uploading this video to YouTube because there is no copyright involved in this video. I will post this video on YouTube, upload it on YouTube I will upload this video to YouTube, because this is a disclaimer. Disclaimer says I will upload this video before the actual air time of the Wheel of Time. I have been under my information told that the Wheel of Time will air at 12 p.m. on Amazon Prime tonight in the UK, meaning 7 p.m. For you guys in the United States. So if you are listening to this, it is actually already on Amazon Prime now. So, you know, maybe go and sign up to Amazon Prime. Shout out to Amazon Prime. You know, hit me up, you know, for the fact that I am now actually promoting your company, etc., etc. Shout out to Amazon, full stop, a company that seems to be providing a great service to people. This video is not sponsored by Amazon, but it may as well be at this point sponsored by Amazon. I mean, let's be perfect, guys. Everyone has something to do with Amazon in some shape or form. You've either ordered something from them or you are subscribed to something that Amazon provides us with. And it is, as I said, a very respectable service. Once again, having spoke about the Amazon thing and obviously Amazon not being an official sponsor, I have to refer to the official sponsor of this video, which is, of course, the Anti-Freeloading Society, the Anti-Freeloading Community, the Anti-Freeloading Organization, or whatever I originally referred to this as in the original time when I referred to it. Looking back now, I actually can't even remember, because it started off as a joke and then now it actually becomes something that is, because it isn't an official organization, but it's an organization that I hold dear to my heart, because the fact of the matter is without the Anti-Freeloading Society that I am part of, that I created, that I designed, we would not be here right now. And the Wheel of Time is more proof, or hopefully will be more proof, that there are so many fickle and feeble people out there that will attempt to watch this thinking that they are watching the actual episode, when, of course, as I just said before, there is no copyright here. There is no actual footage. This is just me, a British person, talking away. And like I said, you can tell me what I sound like. You can tell me who I look like, all these things. It doesn't bother me, because at the end of the day, I know without a shadow of a doubt that what I do here is fine, is within the guidelines of YouTube. There should not be any issue with YouTube and with me doing this on YouTube until YouTube tells me, and until YouTube tells me there's an issue, I will not stop doing this. Once again, I do not have to post any actual footage, and I will not post any actual footage. I give you as much information about the episode that you are wanting to watch as I possibly can. And if you are not satisfied with that, the best thing that you can do is hit the dislike button. And if you think that that bothers me, it doesn't. In fact, I openly encourage you, if you don't like what happens in this video, I'm sure that you will do that anyway. But, you know, for once, as I said, people just don't seem to understand. I mean, yeah, I've had millions of views. I've had hundreds of thousands of views. But, you know, compared to messages, I'm still at like 70-30 from positive to negative messages. I even respect those people, and shout out to those people who know that they've been bumped and know what's happened, but they still just write the message that was in their head when they first wanted to watch the episode or watch the clip or watch whichever match that they think that they're watching, goal, etc. It's those people that actually think by sending like violent and aggressive things across that it makes any difference. To me, it doesn't. Like, you're not going to change what you like, oh, should I immediately take down the... No. The fact that you're here should be enough evidence to any human being that I am doing something, and if that's the case and you don't like it, I'm clearly doing something that I want to do, and it's clearly something that I think isn't wrong. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I even question my own like reasoning, like, should I really be doing this? But after last night's debacle, no way am I going to miss an opportunity like this. And, you know, to be honest, I don't know. Maybe people are clued in. I mean, people wouldn't be stupid enough to be looking on YouTube. But I've got to start testing now where this formula, how far this formula goes. Because I know for a fact that these guys that post this click link in description thing, they're getting away with it, and they're not even posting any information whatsoever. Like, they're not even speaking about it. They're just literally posting a video with YouTube music in the background, basically saying, you know, click the link in the description. And anybody even questions, like, well, what's the difference between what you do and what they do? I have just spent, whether even every word of this is just complete and utter nonsense, I have just spent the best part of an hour, over an hour in fact, because of the times that I've had to editing this video. Now, I was watching somebody, shout out to I Am Suda, he's put up a tweet the other day. He said it's took him 6 hours to do 1 minute of his latest video. I feel you, brother, because I have done that before, where to do like a 20-second audio clip, it's taken me like 3 hours to do it because I can't get it right, or I can't fit it in, or I can't make it make sense, and I've ended up just losing my mind at the end of it. I have done that many a time. But yeah, The Wheel of Time, season 1, episode 4. If you want to, feel free to let me know what you expect to happen, because you're obviously looking for the episode. If you have managed to see the episode and you're looking for some kind of thoughts on the episode, and you know, you're somebody who actually follows along with my channel and you've listened to this, please feel free to let me know what you think so far of the 4 episodes that have aired. There's not really much more for me to say. As you can see, guys, I am literally just stalling now to run down the clock as much as I can to get this over and done with, because I am looking forward to later on tonight watching season 1, episode 4 of The Wheel of Time, Amazon Prime's latest blockbuster television series that is, for some reason, like I said, not being looked at by many as favorable, but I think it's going to be very, very popular come, you know, season maybe 2 and 3. I think a lot of people, because you know, this has already been renewed for a 2nd season already, so the producers obviously believe that it's going to be something popular. And with those types of series that get renewed for a 2nd series, they normally get renewed for about 4 series, and that's where, if there are big question marks, they start to get question marks around them. You know, as I mentioned earlier on about the Beat Executioner, that was only a 3 series, a 1 series. It was supposed to be 3, but it was only 1, and they only got 10 episodes out of that. The Wheel of Time would have to be absolutely horrific from what I've seen, because that weren't even that bad, but it was just pitched longer. And like I said earlier on, I hope it doesn't, The Wheel of Time, that being, doesn't drag it out for 3.5 series just to get some minor payoffs for stuff that we've seen in season 1. I'd rather get a lot of the fundamental stuff out of the way and then see what we can do as we get into season 2 about building a new plot line and a new story, maybe potentially, you know, some resurgence of a different type of big bad, or the summoning of a different big bad, etc. For anyone that has stuck around for this long so far, you are legitimately the reason why I do this. I know that a lot of people say that, you know, because of what I do, I can't care about the content that I make. And I don't really care if people listen to this or not. But like I say, I just need to, for the peace of mind, mention that I do appreciate people watching this episode. And as you can probably tell now, guys, we are 54 minutes into this. It's been quite a while since I've spoke for longer than the 40-minute mark, due to the fact that I was doing the Dark Side of the Ring things. It's been quite a long time since I spoke for this length, but I've said my piece and I've said my bits. I've ranted and I've raved about whatever. And, you know, I've covered the allotted watch time for what this episode would feature, because, of course, as me realizing now, Netflix and Amazon, they don't have adverts like the adverts that we know on television. They have adverts like adverts on YouTube, where it's more pop-up adverts, etc. But yeah, we are at the allotted running time. Like I said, and like I have said multiple times in this is for season 1, episode 4 of The Wheel of Time. The Wheel of Time, Season 1, Episode 4. This has been my thoughts and opinions. Please like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.